Okay, let me click on sharing screen again. Entire screen. Okay, so this is for Module 2, Lesson 6. Multi-tool workflows, combining multiple AI tools to complete a task. Pathway overview. This lesson teaches you how to combine multiple AI tools together to complete real-world tasks more effectively. Instead of using just one AI tool, you'll learn how to use several tools in sequence, where the output from one tool could become the input for the next. And by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to design and execute a multi-tool workflow that solves a practical problem. Workforce targets are to define a workflow, what it is, and explain why combining multiple AI tools is more powerful than using a single tool, or times that it can be. Identify which AI tools are best suited for which types of tasks. Design a multi-step workflow that moves output from one tool to another. Execute a complete workflow from start to finish without errors. And troubleshoot common problems when tools don't work together as expected. The key vocabulary for the lesson: workflow, integration, input, output, sequence, data format, handoff, pipeline, automation, compatibility, prompt chaining, and validation. So for the live build demonstration, think of a task you do every day that has multiple steps, such as making a sandwich or getting ready for work or getting ready for school. You follow a certain order of steps. So if it's making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, grabbing the bread if you have it. If you didn't already have the materials, you might be running to the store. But say you have all the materials, you have to open the bread bag, get the bread out. You've got the peanut butter out, opened the lid, got the appropriate tool on if you're using, say, a butter knife. If you have your jelly, you're probably going to want a spoon for it to get it out and not use the same tool that had the peanut butter on it. And you're going to follow a certain order of steps that's going to give you your end result. So if you wanted AI to help like with a task such as that, which step would you ask it to do first? Okay. So in an example like planning for something like, say, a meal and following all the steps, maybe it could find a way to be more efficient in say assembling a certain meal or in a sandwich, okay, or how you buy things. AI might suggest one thing that would save time if you had your groceries, on the auto things you normally get, and you had the free where the store has your cart ready for you, and you cut out all the shopping time. That would be one thing that would save a lot of time and would add up in each week. And who knows, if you're wanting to save tools and not have to wash two, is there a thing that would be like two-sided? AI might suggest that, where you put part of it in the peanut butter and then on the other side put that into the jelly. Then you only have one instrument to wash afterwards. So maybe something like that. So we could see how a task, even simple daily task, who knows what type of insights AI might give if you say, how can I do this to save time with this? Okay. And then have you ever used more than one tool or app in a row to finish something? And what was it? Okay, we've already taken some outputs from one tool. So maybe you did a prompt in ChatGPT and then got an output, and then maybe it created an image for you. Then I mentioned taking that image and putting it in something like Stable Diffusion to edit. Okay, or maybe then you put that into Gemini and work with it. Use it as a prompt to create an image from, as an example, for say Nana Banana with Gemini. And then some other common workflows that people use early on. What tools other you might have got AI like chat to generate some text for you, say like an email, and then whenever you went to type it into your write an email, say in Microsoft or with Outlook or Gmail. Maybe you have Grammarly on, and then you have it suggesting rewrites in there and checking for grammar too. And that process would be having one AI create the example and then Grammarly coming in, checking it for grammar. Why do you think multiple tools together might be better than using just one? Well, I mean, you could have a second line of checking for accuracy. The first one, or checking for things like bias. Okay, from the first tool, getting the second tool to look in it. Maybe for the image generation, for like a draft example, one tool might suffice, but then you might use something that has like credits, so many free credits a day that maybe has better outputs, but you don't want to pay for it. Then that way you're saving some of your credits by putting in an example at a time to get closer to the output you're looking for. There are times that one tool would suffice, though. Today, you'll learn what workflows are and why they matter. You'll see real examples of how professionals chain AI tools together to solve complex problems. And by the end of the lesson, you'll build your own multi tool workflow and understand how to fix problems when tools don't connect smoothly. So, what is a workflow? It's the series of steps done in a specific order to complete a job. So, like for a recipe, you're not just throwing all the ingredients in at once. You're doing something like for maybe it's baking, where you're mixing your dry ingredients together. You had your wet ingredients separate and then incorporating them together before baking. When you use multiple AI tools together, they also work in a specific order. Okay, a certain tool that's going to give you output that then could become input for the next tool. So why might you want to use multiple AI tools? Well, one is powerful, but multiple working together are even more powerful of the amount of data that they could pull from. And say that you get to a point where you feel of one tool, see where the other tool can take you. One might be great at writing, for example, another might be great at organizing data, and another at checking for mistakes. By using all three in sequence, you get a better final result than any single tool could produce alone. Understanding handoffs is one of the vocab terms, that is when an output from tool A becomes the input for tool B. Imagine tool A writes a rough outline, and that outline becomes the raw material that tool B is going to use, which then would expand it into full paragraphs, and then tool B's paragraphs that were created would then go into, say, tool C, maybe it's Grammarly. Each tool receives exactly what it needs to do its job well. So a real world example for, say, a content creator with their workflow would be to use ChatGPT to brainstorm 10 blog post ideas based on the topic. Then copy those ideas and paste them into Gemini to pick the best one and to create an outline. They use ChatGPT again to write the full blog post from that outline and use Grammarly or a similar tool to check spelling and improve sentences. A data analysis, a data analyst might use an AI like ChatGPT to write instructions for cleaning messy data, use a data tool like Python or Google Sheets to organize the data following those instructions, then ask ChatGPT to interpret what the data means and suggest follow-up actions. Then use the presentation tool to design a report showing your findings. Each step notices building on the previous one. Now, when we're working with tool A and B and handing off output from one into the other as its input, note that not all tools work together. Okay, so you have to see if the output from one's going to be compatible with the other. Some tools specifically work with text, or that's what they excel with. Some work with spreadsheets, some work with images. If tool A creates an image but tool B only accepts text, then you have a compatibility problem. You're not going to upload your image into that tool. Understanding what format each tool accepts is critical before you chain them together. So planning out a workflow, you could sit down and write down what you're wanting to achieve with your personal tasks that you're completing or series of tasks or work related, and list all the steps that are needed to get there, from point A all the way A, B, and C. And for each step, pick the best AI tool for that job. Think about what output each tool will produce and what the next tool will need as input. Planning on paper first prevents mistakes and saves time when you actually build the workflow. Some common issues would be common problems include tools producing output in the wrong format, tools not understanding context from previous steps. So you've uploaded the document that was created from the first one in, but it doesn't have the context of what led to that creation, or losing important information during the handoff. Solutions include clearly restating the context and maybe give it the full prompt from the previous one, saying that's what led to the input that is now going into tool B. Checking that the output matches what you expected before using it in the next step, and sometimes rewriting output to match the format that the next tool needs. So that would be the time if it created a document and it wasn't a PDF, and maybe you're going to put it in like Chat PDF for you to convert it to the proper format. Key takeaways: workflows chain multiple AI tools in sequence for powerful results. Plan your workflow on paper before starting. Understand what each tool does best and what format it needs. Check compatibility between tools. Validate output at each step. And test your complete workflow and troubleshoot any problems. The best workflows are designed, not discovered. So for the guided build, you think of a realistic task that has at least 3 steps, and it gives some examples like creating a social media marketing plan, or writing a job application package, or designing a product description. Write down each step on paper or in a document. For example, step 1, research the topic. Step 2, create an outline. Step 3, write the draft. Step 4, edit and improve. For each step, identify which AI tool would be best. You may use any of the ones that we've used so far. ChatGPT, Gemini, if you've already tried out Claude, Grammarly, or any other tool available to you or that you've heard of, seen a commercial, something you want to test out. Open the first AI tool and complete step 1 exactly as you planned, and then copy the complete output and save it in a document. Then you'd open the second AI tool, or you already had it open, change tab, and paste the output from step 1 into a new prompt. Write a clear instruction telling this tool what to do with that information for step 2. Run the prompt and save the output. Repeat step 5 for each remaining step in your workflow. Review the final output from all steps combined. Check that each tool built correctly on the previous tool's work. If something doesn't fit, go back and adjust the output from that step, and document your complete workflow by writing down the goal, the tools used, the prompt you gave each tool, and the final result. So I'm going to use the final of the different examples to do the designing a product description, and we could think what that hypothetical product would be. So let's do the example I used previously on an infographic of like a plant-based meat, and where we are at in the workflow of maybe we have the product, but we need to be able to generate images for it. Maybe we don't have a name for the marketing. What's our social media plan going to be? Um, what tools are we going to use to generate? Are there going to be videos for um, commercials on TV and ads that people would have on their phones? How are we going to roll out this new product? Okay. And so I'm taking that one and kind of expanding on it, and also in the initial writing on it, what describes it in the best way for our audience. So we could have all that fleshed out on paper. I'm going to pull up ChatGPT and Gemini at first. Okay, so for in our new chat, we could say I'm launching or I work for, we could remember, give it context. And even though this is hypothetical, maybe you say I work for a food called Meatopia. As a content writer and a marketing specialist, we are launching a new plant-based meat that is similar to a breakfast patty sausage. We need help. Like I said, for the content writing part, I need help generating a name for the product, a product description, and who this product is for. We'll start with that. Okay, so taking the context over, we have a company called Meatopia, and there's the new plant-based breakfast sausage style patty. First, we have our product name ideas. Top recommendation, Morning Roots, plant-based breakfast patties. This name feels, so it gives its reasoning for the suggestion, for its creation of something new. We definitely would need to check because these would be, if you're getting like a trademark or something for the name of your new product, knowing that this could be pulling from data elsewhere in the world. Somebody might have a product already called that. That's like a competitor. So we check into those things. We could research that with Gemini, anything that has access to the internet to see if we could see if anybody else has that. This name feels warm, natural, and breakfast friendly. Morning clearly places the product in the breakfast category, while Roots suggests the plant based ingredients without sounding too clinical or trendy. Rise and sizzle patties, Meatopia sunrise patties, farmhouse plant patties, the breakfast planty, savory start patties, root and rise breakfast patties, and then we have for our breakfast. So I'm gonna say we go with the, we'll check if morning roots is used by anybody else as that is one word. Okay. And then if we can use it, we'll go ahead and go into so some product description. It used that top suggestion one. Morning Roots plant-based breakfast patties bring all the savory, satisfying flavor of a classic breakfast sausage patty without the meat. Made with plant-based ingredients and seasoned with a warm blend of breakfast spices, these patties are perfect for stacking on biscuits, serving with eggs, adding to breakfast bowls, or enjoying on their own. With the hearty texture, rich flavor, and easy cook from frozen convenience, Morning Roots helps you start the day with a breakfast that feels familiar, feeling, and forward thinking. Short package description. So maybe the product description would be on something on our when you go to order it from like Walmart or something online that you put in, but then what's actually on the package, some ideas for something shorter. Savory, satisfying, and made from plants. Morning Roots plant-based breakfast patties deliver classic breakfast sausage flavor in a meat-free patty, perfect for biscuits, bowls, sandwiches, and quick morning meals. We asked who is this product for? Okay, health conscious shoppers wanting to reduce meat, say from their diets, flexitarians who still enjoy meat but are looking for plant based swaps, vegetarians and plant-based eaters, busy families who need quick, convenient breakfast options, younger consumers who are open to sustainable modern food choices. So we can see what aligns with our company and what we're going for with this product. Maybe one or two of these fit or more. The type of places that might buy your product and use it for their purposes: restaurants, cafes, schools that want a meat free breakfast option that still feels familiar and satisfying. Maybe what positions us in the market is a statement like, for breakfast lovers who want a better plant based option, Morning Roots plant based breakfast patties offer the savory taste and hearty texture of classic sausage patties in a convenient meat free format that fits today's changing kitchens. Possible taglines: classic breakfast flavor, rooted in plants. Some of the other taglines tying to some of those other names. Okay, so I'm going to click in Gemini then and see if that's already being used. Okay, this checked like Kellogg's, General Mills, Post, Jimmy Dean. It looks like Morning Roots is clear that it's not being used by any of the heavy hitters. Seeing if Roots is being used in one of their product lines. Roots is not being used in Jimmy Dean. Okay. Their other major product lines use standard branding like Simple Scrambles, Delights, and Biscuit Roll-Ups. Kellogg leans heavily into heritage and ingredient-focused naming like Origins or Kashi. General Mills, while they frequently release limited edition and seasonal breakfast items, they do not own or utilize the Morning Roots moniker. Because Morning Roots plays heavily on the concepts of morning breakfast and roots, which implies plant-based, natural ingredients. It is a great name for a brand, but it also wise to double check active trademark. So then we could go into that and look in, or find an AI tool that then could look into that database for us to see if any smaller brands are using it. So that would be something that could be added to this workflow. I'll say that we checked that and it was fine, and we want to follow up with chat. Morning Roots, it is. We love that name. Can you provide? I'm going to change it to create an image of our outer packaging. The image should be clear to read. Use colors that evoke warmth and sunshine. Incorporate a root like text for the name to show this is plant-based. Add sustainability keyword. Vegetarian friendly, flexitarian, health conscious, etc. And I'll probably check in Gemini using the same one that I did in chat to compare our image outputs here. Okay, while that's loading, for saving time, I think I'll go ahead and put this into Gemini, click the plus and click create image, paste it in there. Okay, our morning root example from Gemini, I like that it used the root in the text like I wanted 100% plant-based, sustainability commitment, vegetarian friendly, flexitarian accepted, health conscious, high fiber, no added sugars, non-GMO. We have our ounces of thing. Notice, since we didn't put in here, we gave a name and breakfast stuff. We didn't say this was a plant-based meat, so the context wasn't there. So we have like these seeds, oats, it looks like pecans in there. So this looks more like a grain mix for like a granola or like a cereal. So we'd want to change that. It went ahead and created this idea of like a cereal, just add milk or water. Okay, so maybe we like the box and we do want to have a little hole there that would show in your meat so people could see that. Let's click back into ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT knew the context that was before that input in Gemini, so it knows our company is called Meatopia. So we see the difference. Morning roots, plant-based breakfast patties, savory sausage style patties made from plants. Warm flavor, sunny start. It pulled in the sun, orange colors, yellow colors. We have green for plants. Okay, keep frozen. Looks pretty good. How about I copy this image then and put in here and say I meant to mention the company name is Meatopia and our product is frozen sausage, frozen plant-based sausage patties. Here is a sample image. Create a new draft image. Okay. I could just paste the image in there that we had from chat, so it's there. If there was anything else I want to say, and click submit. So now we see how just going back and forth between these tools, seeing which one at times gives us better output. Wanted to go back and give the context to Gemini that it was missing. Okay, overall, I'm going to give feedback that I like this image. Now, what about a lot of times competitors have a view hole to see the meat in part of the packaging. Can you change the image to show the meat toward the bottom center? Okay, so now we have Meatopia Morning Roots. It changed but it pulled the from the ChatGPT one. So maybe I like the style of the name of the product better here. That's stuff we could follow up with. But now we have our sausage there. Keep frozen. Okay, click back to ChatGPT. I'll go ahead and put this into morning routes for Gemini. Change it away from I'm not wanting to. Well, yeah, it is updating that, so it's still going to create an image. So as we're still on images. Okay, now we have our little window hole there to look into, so that's looking a lot better because people might be skeptical on does it actually look like meat like in the picture, and you're like, oh, that does look like it. It looks pretty good. Okay, now we have the window hole here. We see the product. We see that in this one, it looks a little more like an actual hole in the plastic looking through and seeing it. This looks, of course, more like an image of that was overlaid over it. So that's stuff to tweak. And then maybe say we're going then with this image from ChatGPT. I can download it. Okay, maybe we work with another tool for if it was in our plan. All this would have been, this is hypothetical, we've written it down of starting our plant-based product name, description. We've already created this product for tasting and stuff. So we're wanting images for it, all that. Then we start getting, when we have our image assets, how we're going to use them in our marketing. So that stuff we can flesh out in both chat and Gemini. So if I logged in, this is where I could then go in and edit image would be a way that I could go in here and put that one in to change things. Okay. So that would be an example of pulling up yet again another tool, and maybe you're going to do some more refined editing that maybe that Gemini is not doing for us, or maybe chat is not doing with the images. Okay, but that is what for the guided build. Using that example, that's what you will do in your lab. Identify a task from your own life that has multiple steps and could benefit from AI help, such as learning a new skill, planning a vacation, or starting a small business idea. Break the task into at least 4 specific steps and write them down in order. You could get an AI tool to even help you in coming up with your workflow for it by giving it the little thoughts you have of like what are some steps you would need to follow that way and which tools would be best. So you could remember use AI for research. So have AI help you research which AI tools are best for each step by testing them with a sample of your task. Design your workflow by creating a simple diagram or written plan showing your goal, which tool you'll use, tools, what prompts you'll give each tool, and how the output would move from one tool to the next. So the times that you have input going in, output going in from one to the other. Execute your complete workflow step by step, following your plan exactly, and save all outputs as you go. When finished, review the final result and ask yourself, did each tool improve the work? Was the workflow faster than doing it manually? And would you change the order of tools if you did it again? Write a summary of your workflow that includes what worked well, what was confusing, and how you would improve it next time. This will give you what you need to check in your portfolio artifact. You can check for common solutions to any common problems that you might face. Be sure to read the best practices for this lesson. Read through your reflection journal once you've completed the lab work. And that will end lesson 6 for module 2.